We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
In recognition of great African American achievers, this Black History Month, let's bring our A game.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey, how's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's doing okay. We have a very, very awesome show for you today. We are talking about how we cherry pick through our oppression. And we really gonna get to that in a moment. First, I'm gonna show you a video. So everybody, please come in. Please get yourself comfortable. Share the stream. All of that good stuff. All of that good stuff. Because I'm going to have to show you this video first so that you can really see where we're going to go today. Jared done picked up on my my MO, y'all. Because y'all be coming in like, oh, you talking too low. Y'all know what it's going to be 15 minutes in. Y'all know exactly what we're going to do. So I want to make sure that people can kind of come in a little bit, because this video, this clip that I'm going to show is really going to set the tone. So I am waiting around just a little. At least 200 people. I at least want 200 people in here. So let's go ahead and share the stream if we can. Everything is greatly appreciated. And yeah, thank you for the congrats on 73,000. We are really on the road to 100,000. So if you're already subscribed, I want to thank you so much. And sharing it actually helps for people to also subscribe. If you're a cloud watcher and you've been watching for a moment, Please make sure you've already hit that subscribe button. Greatly appreciated. For all of those who have already hit the like button, thank you so much. That actually helps the channel to grow. It is a contribution to the channel because when you hit the like button, what it does is it sends it to the YouTube. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that my subscribership and those my viewers are engaged with what we're saying. And, you know, it recommends the video and the live stream to other people who would like this type of content. Somebody take care of my admirer in the chat. I've got an admirer in the chat who loves my content, but they can love it from the cloud. No, my mod's not going to handle it. I got it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All such admirers can do so from the cloud. Thank you, Pharaoh. So if I could, darling, I would subscribe 1 trillion. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jeffrey, for the congrats. Okay, now we can get started. I can go ahead and show this video. It's not that long. I might show it twice just so that everyone can truly understand. So let me stop hemming and hawing and stalling and let me share so we can see it. Here we go. And I want everybody to listen very closely. Okay.
There's no place in Black America you can go and find the 4 essential institutions needed for a community: bank, school, supermarket, hospital. And you know why that's ironic? Last year, Black America in 2016, we spent $2 billion on Air Jordans, $4 billion on liquor and alcohol, $600 million on fast food, and we bought twice the amount of Mercedes Benzes as white America, although white America has twice the wealth of black folk. So the question becomes, what is it about the Mercedes Benz that makes it so attractive to African Americans even when they can barely afford it? And it's because it's a status symbol.
That's all.
And one thing we know about oppressed people, when you can't enjoy true freedom, you surround yourself with the symbols of that freedom.
Absolutely.
And that's why the Louis bag is so important. That's why our children will kill for Air Jordans. It's not the sneaker, it's what it represents. And if I believe I'm worthless, that means I can only add value to myself by what I put on my body as opposed to what I put in it. Now, there's no place in Black America you can go and find the 4 essential institutions needed for a community: bank, school, supermarket, hospital. And you know why that's ironic? Last year, Black America in 2016, we spent $2 billion on Air Jordans, $4 billion on liquor and alcohol, $600 million on fast food, and we bought twice the amount of Mercedes Benzes as white America, although white America has twice the wealth of black folk. So the question becomes, what is it about the Mercedes Benz that makes it so attractive to African Americans even when they can barely afford it? And it's because it's a status symbol.
That's all.
And one thing we know about oppressed people, when you can't enjoy true freedom, you surround yourself with the symbols of that freedom.
Absolutely.
And that's why the Louis bag is so important. That's why our children will kill for Air Jordans. It's not the sneaker, it's what it represents. And if I believe I'm worthless, that means I can only add value to myself by what I put on my body as opposed to what I put in it.
So did we all catch that? Thank you, Miss Lou Casely. Thank you so much. Did we all hear that? Did we all hear that? That was Dr. Umar Johnson circa 2015, 2016. Whatever anybody may think, whatever opinion you might have of Umar Johnson, he wasn't lying. In that clip, he was speaking facts. It was just facts. Facts are facts. Facts are facts. Right? The type of content that I'm doing today, yesterday, for the past 2 years, and going forward is for the teaching, is for the women. I want to make that really, really clear before I continue on. The teaching is for the women. The men are welcome to be here, of course. The brothers are always welcome. But the reason I'm saying what I'm saying, the reason that I'm saying the teaching is for the women is because I am not an instructor for men. I am not an instructor for men, okay? I am not here to tell the men how to solve these problems that we have as a community. It's the men's job to solve them, but it's not my job to tell men how to solve them. The men have to figure that out on their own. And I have faith in my brothers that they'll be able to figure it out and problem solve. Okay? And I want to say a shout out to Dr. Umar and the Breakfast Club for that clip. Hopefully somebody can actually send this to Dr. Umar. Because while he had major points and he was speaking some major facts about what you find and what you don't find in the Black community, he missed some things. And those things he missed is what we're going to talk about today. And the reason why I titled the show, How Black People Cherry Pick Oppression, is because we have not connected all dots. We connect the dots that are almost cliche now. Things that make us seem as if we know what we're talking about. And we may know what we're talking about, but we have it in bits and pieces. All throughout our history here in this country, as we have fought for human rights, as we have fought for civil rights, thank you, Theo, our ancestors, our elders have all come up with these various aspects and taken deeper looks at why the Black community is in the failed state that it's in. They're not wrong. So when we hear our elders talk about the economy, when we hear Dr. Claude Anderson talk about the economy, when we hear him talk about wealth, when we hear him talk about economics in the Black community, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's right in what he's saying. But it's not complete. It's not complete. And that's not me criticizing Dr. Claude Anderson. It's not me criticizing him. Neely Fuller helps us to understand institutionalized white survivalism, the various aspects of it. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He talks facts, but incomplete. And this is not a criticism of him either. I'm not saying this and bringing up these names to criticize. I'm bringing up these names and their contribution to our understanding of our plight. Thank you, Mogul Maze, to highlight them and help us to understand that we don't need to pick and choose which one of them we agree with. We should be agreeing with all of them because they're all correct. Do we understand? Because the findings of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing don't contradict the understanding of Neely Fuller, that doesn't contradict the understanding of Dr. Claude Anderson, that doesn't contradict the understanding that Malcolm X gave us, that doesn't contradict the understanding that MLK gave us, that doesn't contradict. Do we understand? It's not really contradictory. And we don't have to choose which one we agree with versus the ones we don't. Because we really, as long as it's the truth, we really shouldn't be disagreeing with any of them. And we've been pigeonholed, and I don't know who tricked us into thinking that we had to pick one or the other, or pick one to the exclusion of the others. So if I read Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's The ISIS Papers, does that mean I don't read the compensatory codes? And does that mean I don't read The Miseducation of the Negro by James Baldwin? And does that mean I don't read? You understand? So we can't cherry pick through our oppression which one of these things give us the biggest victimhood story. Are we bigger victims because of wealth, because we don't have wealth, or are we bigger victims because we don't have education? Thank you, Juwar. Said, love your content. Trying to get my wife to listen to you, but she ain't ready. However, she's slowly coming around. You know how some women are. It's hard for them to admit when they're wrong. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully she comes around. Excuse me. Put your opinion in the chat. Are black people in trouble more because of wealth or more because of our lack of education? You choose. Thank you, Philip, $73. Hey, hi, sweetie. Congrats on 73K. Thank you so much. Which one? Education. Some say education, some say wealth. Lack of education. Okay. It's both. It's both. It's both. As a matter of fact, not only is it both, we're in the shape we're in because of the lack of all 10. The lack of, or the degradation, or the corruption of all 10 of these, and the lack of understanding about how those 10 life values fit under biology or culture or environment. And this is what we're talking about today. Because we don't have to pick. We don't have to pick which one of those things is affecting us the most. We have to fight the war against white survivalism on 10 fronts. Not multiple fronts that are undefined. 10 defined fronts. Because in that clip, Brother Umar talked about banks, schools, supermarket, hospital. So what he's really talking about, when you talk about bank, which one of the 10 life values is the bank? Which one of that? Which one of those? Which one is the bank? Thank you, Prada. Say Hosea 4:6. 6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Thank you. Banks go under wealth, right? School goes under what? That's an easy one. And yeah, all of this comes under mobility as well. But school is education. Hey, Nate. Supermarket is what? Supermarket falls under what? Supermarket falls under health. Y'all sharp. Hospital falls under what? Health. Health. Right? So he hit health twice. He actually hit health 2 times. So he really covered 3 values, not 4. So he covered wealth, education, and health. There's 7 more. Let's talk about it. And once again, shout out to Brother Umar. Like I said, that clip was like from when he appeared on a Breakfast Club, like in 2015 or 2016 or something like that. I actually like his appearances on the Breakfast Club because you really get to hear how his mind works when it comes to these subjects. But we got to go over number 1, the spiritual. See, we have a tendency to overlook the internal values for the external because we think as a people that our oppression begins in the environment and in the external values. We believe that we are heaviest oppressed. The heavy oppression occurs in the environment, which are the institutions of this country. And we believe that we are more heavily oppressed in the external values. So the mobility, the education, the professions, the leisure, and the wealth. That's what we think. And so since we think that as a group, we have a tendency to ignore the internal values, the spiritual values, the value of health, the value of family, the value of appearance, the value of dwelling. So then we end up with 2 or 3 camps in the Black community, one vying over the other about which one is more important and which one is more detrimental. So we get one side that dismisses the other. So if you are a proponent for the internal values, we can't afford to neglect the external values. So we can't be a people that pay attention to spiritual value. We pay attention to health value. So we'll go to our places of worship and things of that nature. We'll get in tune with our spiritual systems and all of that type of thing. And then we'll drink health drinks. We'll go vegan. We'll do all of these types of things to address our physical health. We'll try to deal with our families and try to be good people in our families. We'll try to have the best appearance we know how to have, and things of that nature in the dwelling. And then those same people will speak against wealth. They'll speak against wealth. They'll speak against it in the way of saying, in order to be a good, upstanding, and person of value, you don't need wealth. And not only do you not need wealth, it's more spiritual of you to denounce wealth. To denounce wealth, because we have associated wealth with white survivalism and their system, because we know they worship wealth. Are you understanding what I'm talking about? Are we getting what I'm saying? So we'll denounce wealth. Oh no, you don't chase a dollar. You know, we'll down our brothers and sisters if they're about their business, if they're about their profession, if they're about their education, if they're about their wealth, if they're about their mobility. We'll look down on them. Oh, you selling out, or you in the white man's system. Try to make them feel bad for that. This is where the concepts of poor righteous teacher and all of those types of things come from. Then we got the other group. That's the exact opposite of that. They're about mobility. They're about education. They're about profession. They're about leisure. They're about wealth, to the exclusion of paying any attention at all to spiritual value, any of the internal values, spiritual, health, family, appearance, or dwelling. They only deal with those in a very superficial way. Spirituality, almost none. Almost none. You know, y'all standing there, you know what I'm saying, trying to go to these churches and blah, 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 blah. Don't y'all know you can't make no money in there and da-da-da-da-da, or whatever. Your health, the only time these people, you know, you might think about the health aesthetically. You know, I want to look good. You know, in terms of that, I don't want to be fat and all of this type of stuff. But you don't really think about your mental health. You don't really think about your emotional health. You don't really think about none of these other types of forms of health. Family, these people are ready to ditch their family completely. I ain't got to be dealing with them. You know, my family broke. They got a broke mentality. They got a broke mindset. They got a poverty mindset. So I distance myself completely away from my family because, you know, I don't like their little poverty mindset and blah, 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 blah. So I don't go around my family. I don't talk to them. And you know what I'm saying? Because they always begging for money. And, you know, they poor. And they don't pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And they just get, you know, you run them down. Appearance, only the outward. You know, I got to look good. I got to wear the best suit. I got to wear the best dress. I got to wear the best shoes. Dwelling, we don't care. You know, I need to live in a place that look nice. That, you know, so I can brag on the address and the zip code. But I don't really care about it. It's not a place of sanctuary. It's not a place of peace or nothing like that. So we divide ourselves into these different camps, one against the other. And we have a tendency to dismiss other parts of where we're falling short because we don't want to deal with them, or we don't know how to deal with them. We don't know how to deal with them, and we don't know what these other areas are, which is why the 10 life values is so important when we apply them in a practical way to help us understand what these aspects are. Thank you again, Jawar said, how do you explain how the black church for centuries veered black people to internals and not address the externals? This is why many people got tired of the church's message. Money is the root of. Exactly. But see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. See, a lot of us get disenchanted with the spiritual because we disenchanted with the church. Or we're disenchanted with the masjid, or we're disenchanted with the Christians, or we're disenchanted with the Muslims, or we don't really like the imams, or we don't really like the pastors, and things of that nature, instead of being able to get to the truth of them things. We don't actually have to throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes, because in the 10 life values, the spiritual value is about truth. It's not about a particular religion. It's about the truth. And when we talk about the spiritual value, we're also talking about something else that Brother Umar talked about in that clip, is the value And he was saying when we think we're worthless. So we don't have a value except for the value that white society put on these status symbols. And when we want to be valuable, we go ahead and we make purchases that we cannot afford to have the symbol of being valuable without actually assigning value to ourselves. Do we understand? Because in the 10 life values, like I said, it's not about this religious part, that religious part, and all of these denominations or whatever. This is more so about making sure that we have a human inherent value and that we acknowledge and we recognize that value, not only within us personally, but in each other. That is part of what was lost when they took the spiritual value away from us or degraded it or corrupted it. We began to see each other, ourselves, not as human beings. We began to see ourselves the way they saw us, which was not human. Less than human, savages, animals. So we internalized that and then we acted on it. So we don't mind shooting each other. We don't mind fighting with each other in the street. We don't mind cussing each other out. We don't mind clowning each other. We don't mind roasting each other. We don't mind doxing each other. We don't mind putting each other's families and kids and all of that type of stuff at risk. We don't mind doing that because we don't have any value towards each other or ourselves. Thank you. We'll be back. Said, keep up the good work, sister. P.S. Bought some A-game yesterday. Waiting for it to come in the mail. You will not be disappointed, and thank you so much. Not only for the contribution, but for purchasing A-game. Thank you. Won't be disappointed at all. It's awesome. Right? So the spiritual value is about assigning and recapturing the concept that we have human value outside of and as opposed to the assigned value that the white survivalism gave to us. We got to get out of that. That's the first step of getting out. That's the first step of relieving ourselves from the oppression to begin with. So that we don't need to have these status symbols to try to perpetrate like we got money. Because that's not even how money works. They playing off of our ignorance about wealth. Do we understand that spiritual and wealth touch? We have been taught wrong. We have been brainwashed about the nature of spiritual value versus the nature of the wealth value. We have been taught that these things are diametrically opposed. They do not touch each other and don't belong in the same conversation. And that is not true. It is not true. Thank you, Kino. Say that lady spitting. Thank you. Number 1 and number 10, when you look at that circle, they are touching. That's how they keep us impoverished. Not only our pockets on rabbit ears, but impoverished here. Because we do not associate wealth with morality and spiritual truth. We think we gotta lie, scheme, and steal and cheat to become wealthy. And if you lie, scheme, steal, and cheat, your spiritual value will be low. So therefore, you can't do both. We think getting wealthy and being spiritual at the same time is the definition of you can't serve two masters. Not true. They got us thinking that so that we don't pursue wealth and excellence. And when I say wealth, I'm not just talking about getting some money. I'm not just talking about finances. I'm talking about achieving excellence in all 10 areas. That's what I'm talking about today. Your spiritual value belongs where? When we look at this chart, where's the spiritual value? Somebody put it in the chat. Where did the spiritual value go? Is it biological? Is it cultural? Or is it environmental? Your spiritual value is biological. Biological. Because it is what you believe. It is core beliefs and morals. It's biological. It's biological. Biology is the individual. The individual themselves. It's okay if you typed culture. See, we all just here to have better understanding. That's all. Right? So your spiritual value goes under the biology. What you believe, it's how we think, what we feel, it's your morals, it's your core belief. What we believe about ourselves, that comes from the spiritual value. That's why I said earlier in the week that both systems start with the spiritual value. Just because we looking at the lost value system and spiritual is number 10 doesn't mean that they didn't start there. Because they had to start at the spiritual value to corrupt it so that the system could be flipped. Right? So we can't be of the understanding or of the false understanding that in order to be spiritual, we gotta be poor. This is why they tried to shove Jesus, peace be upon him, down our throats like that. Because Jesus, if you talked about money, was poor, quote unquote. He didn't have money to spend. Which is fine. Some of the prophets did and some of them didn't. Notice they didn't talk to us a whole lot about Suleiman or Solomon or King David. They didn't talk to us a whole lot about the king prophets. See, they didn't talk to us a whole lot about the king prophets, the ones that did have the wealth. See, they don't talk about that part. They don't talk. They hoping you don't read your Bible so you don't see that part. That there were men, when they tell you about the story of Job, they always want to focus on when he lost. But what did Job lose? His wealth. He had to have it in order to lose it. But they don't point that part out. They don't point that part out. Job had excellence in all 10 values. Spiritual value excellence, health value excellence, family value excellence. They don't talk about that. So we want to hit it. Let's hit it. Let's talk about it. He had children. He had a wife. Job's wealth was such that he was taken care of, and the people around him were dependent on him creating jobs for them, working his farm, working his animals and the agriculture and building and all of that type of stuff. See, they don't want you to look at it like that. They want you to look at Bible stories like bedtime stories or something, but it's not. These are the lives of people, of God's people. Job was a spiritual man who had wealth. He had the best mobility of his time, the best education of his time, the best profession of his time, the best ability for leisure of his time, the most wealth of his time in his area, the best dwelling of his time. You understand? The best appearance, the best family value, the best health, the best spiritual. All 10. All 10. If we're believing, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. And then we can move on to the other ones. But if we're going to talk about God's people, then who did God make the world for? And if he made the world for his people and to spread his word, why would he restrict us in our mobility? Why would he do that? Why would he demand that we be restricted in our mobility, demand that we be restricted in our education, demand that we be restricted in our profession, demand that we be restricted in our ability to have leisure, demand that we be restricted from wealth, and then give it to those who go against his system to corrupt the world? See, they don't want you to put it together that way. They don't want you to. See, that's why they want us all discombobulated and one is right and the other one wrong. See? Got to think about it the way it is. See, when you read your Quran or when you read your Bible or whatever spiritual system you follow, you got to read it like it applied to the world. Stop reading it like it's Aesop's fables. That's why they want to tell us everything is metaphorical and metaphysical, and they don't want us to put it in layman's terms and apply it to your life practically so you can see how it works. They do it though. That's why they understand it. And that's why we get disenchanted when we start talking about spiritual, because we don't know how to make that apply to the practical world. Let's get it. I am so past the break. Oh my goodness. I'm so past the break, everybody. I'm so sorry. Well, we gonna continue to cook because I got a lot. So we're gonna continue to cook. So after these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Spanky Hayes, and I want to say something, whether it's comedy, acting, or just in general real life. I use my A game. I gotta have the A game. I pack it in every pocket. I got one pill in every pocket and every pair of pants I got. Listen, entertaining y'all is hard sometimes. I gotta fly to Dallas, then to Denver, then to New York, then to LA, then to Detroit. Come on, man. That tires me out. I just take the A game now. I don't have that problem no more. I usually barely don't sleep because I'm entertaining y'all. I'm in the studio all night with the A game. And trust me, when I come home from the studio, my woman gets to feel the real pleasure of the A game. You see, I'm smiling. Watch this. Hey, baby.
Hey, babe.
Guess what I just took? What? A game, A game, A game, A game. I'm gonna meet you upstairs, all right?
Oh, okay. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Before we start cooking again, we gonna get on our A game, right? And nothing gets you on your A game faster than A game. A game, A game, A game. So you got to get on your A game. Fellas, if you need a boost in your overall health, no matter where you are in life or where you are on the spectrum of your health, A game can always give you the boost that you need. By addressing the blood flow in your body, A game supports a man's vitality, his energy, his strength, and his libido. So whether you need a boost to think of that next topic for your podcast, you take you some A game, get those synapses firing. Whether you need a boost in the boardroom so you can close that deal, or whether you need a boost in the bedroom so you can close that deal, okay? A game is what you need, all right? With 21 herbs. Listen, let me tell you something. The herbs is urban, okay? That's what's happening. Ask any of the fellas that have gone ahead and gotten A game and gotten that boost and know firsthand what A game does for them. 21 herbs, no artificial ingredients, no, inactive ingredients or anything of that nature, just herbal goodness, no animal byproducts if you're concerned about that. In order to get A game and become part of the A game family, all you got to do is hit the link at the top of the chat, agameherbal.com. Please don't forget your 10% discount using the code Kendra10. You can have this box of awesomeness delivered to you ASAP, all right? Y'all like that the herbs is urban. They doing what they got to do. A game is the truth, okay? Thank you. I can't see your name. I can't hardly see the script, but thank you so much for the $10. Oh yeah, I know it's Arabic. I just couldn't see the script. Can't see it. It's too small. So let's talk about health, all right? Let's talk about health. We are sick physically. We're sick mentally. We get bad diagnoses from the doctor and things like gender confusion, right? Getting told that a boy can be a girl can be a boy, you're gender fluid, you can be non-binary, and all of these different things that affect us. How? If we health can be affected in two areas. What's the two? Health can fall under one or two. What's the one or two that health falls under? Biology, cultural, it can be cultural, but if we're looking at this chart, I'll help you out. It can fall under biology and environment. It can come under culture. You're not wrong. And which is the whole point of today. Not wrong. Because bad health habits that we have that physically impact our health negatively also became part of Black culture. So it became part of Black culture in some parts of the United States to eat pickled pig feet and chitlins and hog maws and deep fried everything. Deep fried pork chops, deep fried chicken steaks, deep fried this, deep fried that. Ed Davey put it environmentally, we don't have doctors that look like us. See, we need our own hospitals. And that is one that Brother Umar touched on. This is what we call, earlier today when I did my video, I mentioned the institution within the institutions. We need our own hospitals. This means we need to pursue medical degrees in every different expertise, from family general health to pediatrician health to heart health to reproductive health. All of these various different, and we can do it. They can't stop us from getting a hospital. There are state-run hospitals, and then there are private hospitals. You understand? They can't stop us from doing that. We stop us from doing that because of the way we think. Health is important. Mental health is important. But we don't have to succumb to all of these different agendas so you can be a mental health counselor. The institution inside of the institution. So we can have somewhere where the people in the community and the neighborhood can go to either this clinic or this hospital and trust what the doctor say. Trust that the doctor that we're coming to put our health in their hands is not here to make us a customer rather than a patient. I give you just enough treatment, not healing, treatment to make you have to come back. So I don't never cure you of nothing, but I treat everything. See, we got to watch them words. Oh, it's a treatment for that. Yeah, but is it a cure for it? And then they'll slide a cure and still call it a treatment. They've cured HIV. You understand that? Do we understand that there's a cure for that? Put a 1 in the chat if you know there's a cure for that. On the market right now. And they give you a little bit like a treatment. Make you have to come back. But if you can give me something that'll make it to where if I took a blood test, you can't detect HIV antibodies, I don't have it. So you're not a patient, you're a customer. We understand? See, we need doctors that don't subscribe to modern quote unquote medicine. And when I say modern medicine, what I mean is we don't exclude holistic healing. Because see, in today's modern world, any doctor you go to will cast a lot of doubt on what they call quack medicine. You know, when you get to talking about a herb, when you get to talking about food as a treatment for your dis-ease, then they get to talking to you, looking at you stupid. But then they know that you own to something, because when they really want to kind of treat you, they'll talk about your diet. See, if you go into a weight loss clinic, what's the first thing that weight loss doctor gonna tell you? What's the first conversation y'all about to have? If I go into a clinic, any bariatric clinic, or it can be a clinic designed for me to get weight loss surgery. But what's the first conversation we gonna have? Your diet. The first conversation they gonna have with you is, what do you eat? So if food not a medicine, if food can't act as either a medicine to cure you or a poison to kill you, why do we have to talk about the diet? Just give me whatever pill you gonna give me. Just give me whatever pill you gonna give me. Right? Because food ain't got nothing to do with it. Right? And then they'll talk to you about your diet, and then they'll turn you around on a stupid diet. They'll have you with a whole bunch of carbs and a little bit of fat. They'll have you fatter than you ever been in your life. Sicker than you ever been in your life. You'll lose weight and your organs are shut down at the same time. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. They'll have you losing weight and you be losing health at the same time. Thank you, Ed Davies said, before we were freed, we had black doctors because white doctors would treat us and hospitals wouldn't allow us in. Exactly. See, we used to rely on what we understood about eating food, herbs, which herb did what, which plant helped what, which tea did what. Don't eat this before you go to bed. So certain foods you shouldn't be eating in the evening. Certain foods only supposed to be eaten in the morning. We used to know that. How many Gen Xers or older, grandmama or mama used to tell them don't eat no cabbage late? Y'all ever hear that? Don't eat no cabbage late. We gonna move on. But I need to keep driving these points home. Because I used to get that don't eat no cabbage late. Because see, it produces a lot of gas, but it's dangerous. The later you eat it and go to bed, you can't do that. Eat that early so your body can actually digest it properly. You don't want to be eating that and then going to lay down an hour after that. It's difficult to break down. Your body got to do a lot of work to break that down. It can be good for you, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to break down vegetables and leaves anyway. Why do you think herbivores got 4 stomachs, 3 and 4 stomachs, and long intestinal tracts? Thank you, good girl said, let food be thy medicine. Hippocrates. Mm-hmm. And really, you right, Fifth Feminine, you shouldn't be eating late no way and then going to bed. That's the wrong move. That's not the move. Eat all your food. My rule of thumb is before 7 o'clock. Don't eat nothing after 7 o'clock. You be all right. Family. We can't build families because like we talked about earlier, we hate each other. This gender war, we got to scratch that, ladies. We got to scratch that one. Scratch that gender war. Scratch it. Throw it away. It's trash. It's trash. Hating black men for the sake of hating black men and carrying a torch for that. Oh, yeah, I can't trust nobody. And then spreading those seeds of mistrust and misandry all around you. Trash. It's trash. It is destructive trash. It is something that was given to us that we took wholeheartedly. I'm talking about the women. And that has been one of the most singularly destructive mindsets that we've carried forward. We don't get along biologically. We don't get along culturally. It is now a culture for black women to hate black men. That's been in the culture for a minute now. I don't need no man. I don't need you. We do it with a smile. We do it while we kikiing. Talk crazy to a man in his face. Tell him about what we don't need. Tell him about how he ain't no good. Tell him about what he can't do for us and all that kind of stuff. And in the next breath, we are asking for something. It be the audacity for me. Watch the clip of this woman, black woman, getting on a plane with her boyfriend. He done paid for her and him trip, the tickets and stuff like that. She's filming herself getting on the plane with him and clowning him for not buying a first class ticket. Now, this was supposed to be funny. This is how it's in the culture. Environmentally, we do so. We hate each other and break the family. All you got to do is talk about child support, alimonies, okay, parental alienations, baby deletion options, and all of this other type of stuff that is designed to environmentally assist in the breaking of the family that occurred in biology and culturally. Now she's sitting there laughing, talking about, he couldn't have bought a first class ticket out. Listen, let me tell you something. The way I would have walked off that plane so fast and got my refund for these tickets, if I could have got them. And let me tell you something else, another little secret about first class and all of that type of stuff. You know what I discovered? A domestic first class seat that's not special. A domestic flight first class seat just costs more, and you're in the front of the plane. That's it. The seat is a little bigger. That's it. The only time that I have seen a first class and a business section of a plane be exponentially better than the economy and coach area of the plane is on international flights. International flights, you flying the Emirates or you flying these other airlines that's international, that first class and that business class, now that's an upgrade. That's an upgrade. The first class on a Spirit flight from New York to Miami is, you might as well to save them extra couple of $100 and win in coach. Sit over the wing. That's the strongest part of the plane. You got a better chance if it go down. But we've broken down the institution of family. We dislike each other. So in order to deal with the broken institution of family from an environmental portion, what do we got to do first? We got to address it biologically first, then culturally, then environmentally. What about the appearance value? Right? Not only do we need to care, we've covered that a lot of times. Biologically, we need to understand what our appearance value says about us. And that translates easily and simply over into culturally. what our appearance value says. Because see, it used to be a one-to-one thing to wear a bonnet in your house. To wear a bonnet in your house. To deal with your hair, go to sleep in it, right? It wasn't cultural. Do we understand? We understanding the difference? Wearing a scarf and a bonnet in my PJs in my home was not cultural. That's just what we did in the house. You know, you get ready to go to bed, put your bonnet on, put your little sleepers on, and you go to bed. It's fun. It became cultural when we tried to make it okay to come outside and take care of business with your bonnet on, your house shoes. Now it's cultural. Right? It's cultural now. See how we just move stuff from biology to culture to environment? We just move it. We just move it right down the assembly line. I'm trying to get everybody to understand how a bioculturon works. See, it's a nice word, and I love the word because it sums it up perfectly. But we have to understand how that works. Dwellings. Not only see from a biological standpoint, the dwelling in and of itself, the dwelling value is everything that happens inside your home to the exclusion of what happens outside of it. That's number one. The second thing is that the dwelling, when we talk about it on a personal level, needs to be a place of sanctuary and of peace. But when we start talking about it culturally and environmentally, we need to start thinking about it and in terms of being able to build and maintain our homes and our communities. We got to be able to do that. This is why when stuff happen, when riots happen, we don't feel no type of way about burning down the so-called neighborhood that we live in. Do you understand that's why we'll do that? Do you understand that we'll do that because we don't feel no connection to that neighborhood? We don't feel no connection to them houses because we don't own them. We don't feel no connection to them apartment buildings because we don't own them. We don't feel no connection to a community because if they gentrify it, all they got to do is take away subsidies and Section 8s and welfares, and we'll be priced out of it just at the market value of rent and mortgages. All they got to do is take away Section 8 and all that kind of stuff and just say pay the market value. We ain't going to go up on it. Just pay it at what it is right now. And so many of us have to move. So many of us would have to leave. So there's no attachment to it because we didn't build it. See, we got to put ourselves in position to where they can't just come in and gentrify us like that. The reason why they can gentrify us that way is because they own the land and they own the buildings on them and they own the businesses that surround them. That's why you can't say nothing. And we don't involve ourselves environmentally in local politics to even know that the gentrification started 10 years before they changed or tore down them buildings over there. See, we only know when gentrification take place when we see it physically happening. We don't understand that it actually happened on paper 5 or 10 years before that. We don't know that it got contracted out to this construction company and that architecture and blah, 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 blah. See, we don't know that. And you say, well, Crimson Cure, how can we stop that? This is what we're talking about. The institution within the institution. Because we need a section of us that run these construction companies. We need a section of us that actually do go to these town meetings. And not only do they go, they're a part of the decision-making board. So then you'll say, well, Crimson, it's black people in politics. It's black people that run construction companies and stuff. And that don't mean nothing. You want to know why that don't really be meaning nothing? You want to know why that don't mean nothing? Why don't that mean nothing? I'll help you out. Because we not on code. What was on code? Sharing a value system. Aha. See, when we share a value system and we get on code, then it'll matter that we have black people who are on code, who share our value system on the city council. That's not only local government, but state level government. The governor, the comptroller, the treasurer, this type of stuff. One moment. My apologies. See, that's why it doesn't matter who black gets into specific political positions. Because we don't share a value system, because we're not on code, which is what that is, then they're going to get in and they're going to go whichever way the wind blow, or more specifically, whichever way the money go. Whichever way keeps their job, whichever way keeps a paycheck coming in. And so it doesn't matter what you think. Thank you, Hoover. So ever since the baby boom generation, the community has been in rebellion against the standards set by the elders of the silent greatest generation. We have been trying to prove we know better. We don't. Because they shared a value system. That is why the older generations accomplished more with less. We couldn't build a Tulsa Black Wall Street at gunpoint now. We couldn't do it. And it's not because we couldn't come together with the money. It's not because we can come together with the money. It's because we can't come together with the values. Because we don't know which one of these things hit us the hardest. And what we don't understand is that all of them are hitting us equally as hard as the other one. There is no most. It's all. See, when we get to talking about mobility, that brings me right beautifully to mobility. Because when we couldn't ride the bus, and white folks played with the bus. 1 minute you could get on it, but you got to get on it in the back. The next minute we ain't swinging by your neighborhood. We don't pick up in your neighborhood. And blah, 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 blah. What did we do? What did we do? What did we do? We created busing systems. We created it. Before we got to the boycott, We created the busing. We did carpooling. We did that. Why was we doing that? Why were we doing that? Because we shared a value system. See, we was looking out for each other back then. We were on code back then. We knew, first of all of us didn't have cars like that. We knew that. So those who were fortunate enough to have cars would carpool to work and things of that nature and school and stuff like that with their neighbors who didn't have the car. We wasn't on this individual deal. Well, I got a car, you ain't got a car. I got mine, you better get yours. Well, see, we wasn't on that foolishness because we understood that if Mr. Jackson's son got to walk from there to the school and that's 2 miles, he might not make it. And the reason why he might not make it is because if you get a car full of white boys that decide to pick them a Negro today and it's him, he ain't coming home. Or if some little white girl decide to tell a lie that he looked at her cock-eyed, he ain't coming home. You understand that? So we knew that. We don't want to see Mr. Johnson's son come up missing. We don't want to see Mr. Johnson come up missing. So, them over there, they used to get together. We had our own town meetings because white folk didn't want us coming in the city hall, talking to them about what's going on in the town. Okay, fine. We'll have our own neighborhood meetings about what's best for us. And it's best for us to begin our own busing system. It's best for us to begin our own carpooling system. That's what's best for us. And we ain't got to sit on a little funky bus. It's sometimes they want to ride over here and sometimes they don't. Whatever. It's dangerous being around them anyway. Because they get together and want to concoct a lie, and now it ain't going to be nothing you can do about it. Ain't going to be no truth can get you out of it. We used to find a need in our community and fill it, thus creating jobs and opportunities for each other. We used to do that, right? We already do that. We create spaces to fulfill our needs. There was a manosphere before there was a black manosphere. Why did black men create a black manosphere? Somebody answer that question for me, if you can, if you know, in the chat room. There was a manosphere anyway. Black men came together in that manosphere because they were men. Okay, there's a common ground. We men. But quickly, black men understood that even in this modern age, them men over there didn't quite see black men as men, did they? Did they? See, your needs as a black man specifically, they didn't care nothing about all that. They didn't care nothing about all that. See, they solution and what none of black men's solution. Because they solution is always the lost cause. And they always gonna identify with the lost cause. They always going to identify with the lost cause all the time, no matter what. Right? Let me see if I can find something. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna show you something. And I'm not even trying to be shady.
Didn't he own slaves?
But I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something. Y'all ready? Y'all ain't going to be ready for this one. But I'm going to show it to you. Real quick.
What?
Did he own slaves? George Washington.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, not a real man to me. I'm just saying.
No, it's actually interesting. He had a different, like, he inherited his slaves, and it wasn't as simple as he could have just like let them go, because the debt that's incurred on them, like, you can't just release them. And so his slaves actually, like, he had a really good relationship with them, and they considered him like a dad. Oddly enough, like a lot of all of his inheritance went to his slaves.
I mean, I hear that, but I just can't take a man seriously if you're owning other people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just for me.
Yeah. No, I mean,
people.
it's just, I think a lot of times we'll like judge on the times.
Yeah.
And it's like he inherited them. It wasn't as simple, like, because a lot of times they'll like take down the statues and whatever, but he couldn't just let them go because they would be homeless at the time.
Yeah, a lot of things.
It wasn't. Yeah, go ahead.
Didn't he own slaves?
Just gonna set that right there. Mm-hmm. So the Black Manosphere was created because Black men tried to come under the common banner of being men. However, the solution from white survivalists is always the lost cause. It's always going to be the lost cause for us. And it's always going to be detrimental to us also. It's always the lost cause. 100% of the time. Never going to give you a value system that's more than that, or better than that, or different from that. Are we understanding it? We almost done. You understand? Do you understand what I just pointed out? Do we understand what I just showed y'all? You understand what I just showed y'all? That was an interesting clip, wasn't it? Let's move down to education, okay? Because a lot of times we will say we lack education, and that's why we're in the position that we're in as a group of people. Now, the statement is not wrong, but the solution that we usually seek does not help us, because we start going back into the educational institutions that we don't have any power in, and we don't have any say as to what gets taught. Right? And they'll tell us, oh, the reason why y'all are failing in education is because you don't value education. Yes, we do. Yeah, we do. But when we go into their educational systems, are we educated or are we indoctrinated? Which one do we get? Which one do we get? See, they go in and get educated. I can sit in the same class and get indoctrinated instead. Because the value system that is taught there is the lost value system. Helps them, hurts me. See, we value it, but we have to come up with our own schools. And which is interesting that it was Brother Umar's clip that we're dealing with today, because the concept was firm. It's just the execution. But we need to actually execute, and I'm not talking about the HBCU either. That was a hand-me-down. That was a pacifier. We don't need that pacifier, because there ain't no less indoctrination going on with that as it is anywhere else in their educational system. So we actually need to have our own schools and our own educators that come from us. Because see, there's state-funded schools and then there are privately funded schools. And the privately funded schools can have whatever criteria and curriculum that they want to have. And because they're not funded majority or solely by the state can't come in and run it. We can do that. We can do that. The institution within the institution. We can do that. We don't got to send our kids to these state-run indoctrination camps. We ain't got to do that. We really don't. If we were on code and we shared a value system, we could entrust our children to go to our own educators and educate your kids. They can't even stop you from homeschooling your kids. They can't stop you from doing that. They can't stop us from getting together and designating educators out of our communities and homeschooling our kids that way. Take them legally, unenroll them out of the school, out of the public school system. They can't really stop you from that. They try to put a roadblock, but they can't really stop you from doing it. These your kids. They're going to be homeschooled. We got a curriculum. All you got to do is check the laws in your city and your state. They really can't stop you from doing it. We need more Black educators. And speaking of that, shout out to Dr. Tia-San Johnson, who has African American studies classes at Fresno State. Thank you, 39 Dina. Who's bringing awareness and highlighting what Black men go through in this society. Something that desperately needs to be spoken about and acknowledged and understood. See, we don't need to talk about the HBCUs. What did Biden just do with the HBCU funding? What did he just do? See, for all that talk about we didn't need 45 in there, what did 46 just do? Just took that funding, just snatched that funding. Just snatched it. Because they get to snatch stuff when they get ready. They get to snatch stuff when they get ready. Our professions, we need in every field to create jobs and careers, to create businesses, to hire our own. Find a need and fill it. That's all they're doing. All they do is figure out the need of their community at large, and then they figure out a way to fulfill that need, and that's how they get business. That's how their businesses grow from something they started in their garage to a multi-million-dollar profitable business. No reason why we can't do that. No reason why we can't figure out what is the needs. Fill it. We got to stop coming up with excuses as to why we can't do certain stuff. Everybody has something to contribute. Everybody can't do everything. Right? There's no one person or two people or 10 people that's going to do everything. But we got to have a section of people that's educators. We got to have a section of people that's entrepreneurs. We got to have a section of people that deal with infrastructure, mobility, all of these different things. We got to have different people dealing with the different, all 10 areas that we need to deal with biologically, culturally, and environmentally. Instead of waiting on these people to change around a system that they're not going to change. We got professionals in this space. Thank you, Brian Watts, says sending gratuity because your service is on point. Thank you so much. We got professionals in this space. Shout out to the two attorneys in this space, Dennis Sperling and the lead attorney, giving us vital insight into the legal institution. The lead attorney has vital insight on the way family court works because he was an attorney for divorce and family court. That was his specialty at law. Vital information. Dennis Sperling, vital legal information. Now, of course, they can't say they giving you legal information, but I mean, just listen to it. All you got to do is listen. Because many of us don't understand the different laws and how things work behind the scenes. We don't know that. And these brothers are highlighting different professions that don't have anything to do with entertainment and athleticism. Everybody not going to the NFL. Everybody can't rap. Everybody can't dribble a ball. It is what it is. Leisure. We need to deal with our leisure. Our leisure ruins us biologically and culturally. Because what is black folks' leisure consist of? Our leisure consists of two things, mainly. Do we know what it is? Y'all want me to help you out? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to know what two things our leisure always contain. Some kind of drugs and eating. Some kind of drug or drink, something get you out your mind. And eating, usually something extremely unhealthy. Every time we think about leisure, we think about going get something to eat. And then we got to go get a drink, and then we got to smoke on something. And that's all day, every day. No longer is leisure used as a relief valve because of all the work that we put in, and we just need time to woosah and catch our breath and, okay, I'm going to spend some time with the family. You know, we might go somewhere. You know, we going to play a game, or we going to unplug. You know, let me unplug. We don't think about leisure. Let me unplug from the internet for 2-3 days. So I can, go enjoy nature, breathe, go outside, do something. We don't think about leisure going to hike. We don't think about leisure to relax because we work so much. And we on this grind all the time. So we're gonna specifically carve out the time to make sure that we're not placing all of these, we're not placing profession. Make sure that we're not placing, profession and leisure above the other values that actually come before it, which is spiritual health, family, everything comes before. Actually, profession and leisure are towards the bottom of the list. So all that being a workaholic and you ain't never ever got time for your family and your kids and your wife and your this and that. Gotta learn how to cut that off. So leisure become the number one thing that become paramount in our lives. Everything gotta be leisure. Everything gotta be fun. Everything gotta be funny. Everything gotta be a party. We turn up to everything. Everything is a party. Everything is some type of shower. Everything is some type of get together and a meet and greet and a sip and serve and a baby shower. No wedding. Ain't never no wedding. Baby showers is the new wedding. We having divorce parties. We having bachelorette parties. We having, I'm going to jail. Let's turn up before I have to go in parties. We having, I just got out of jail. We got to turn up party. You understand what I'm saying? My kindergarten, my little 5-year-old just graduated out of kindergarten. We having an all-day party for that. Man, come on. It's not a real graduation, okay? Relax. Thank you, Black Engine said all our leisure is rooted in the man-made Eurocentric ideologies of the material world, but not the natural God-made earth. Exactly. Kindergarten is not a real graduation. They're 5. All you got to do to celebrate is give them a brand new coloring book. Just get them a brand new coloring book with some new crayons. Every kid loves new crayons. Just give them a 64 pack. I know that used to bring joy to my life. A 64 pack of Crayola crayons with the crayon sharpener in the back. You can't tell a little kid nothing. You understand? You can't tell a little kid nothing. You get him that 64 pack of Crayola with the sharpener? Man, please. You having, the gender reveal party. Which made me think of a skit I saw. Y'all, I don't know if y'all familiar with Christy when she be Miss Shirlene. It's about a gender reveal party. Reveal a husband. Reveal a ring. Reveal that. And then finally, the wealth. We talk about generational wealth without understanding how it's created. We think it's created through jobs. We think it's created through paychecks and all of this type of stuff. That is not how generational wealth is created, acquired, or maintained. The first step to generational wealth is what? The first step to generational wealth acquisition is what? Family. You can't build generational wealth without the generations. You can't build generational wealth without the generation. There's no generations coming if there are no families. So you can become independently wealthy, and without the generations, it's going back into the system. Your estate, one moment. Excuse me. My apologies. But we're going to wrap this up soon. Nobody's building generational wealth without generations. If you become independently wealthy, there's nobody to give it to because you literally can't take it with you when you die. Like you can't. It's not coming. Somebody else is going to benefit from all the work that you put in. And it won't be any of your posterity because you don't have any, because we spent too much time talking about we don't need no man and I ain't getting married and blah, 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 and breaking up the family and letting the institution of family getting broke and not caring nothing about marriage and blah, 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 all of that type of stuff. The state is going to come to retrieve it. They're going to come get it. Thank you, Brian. They're going to come get it. Because a lot of us will go make some money and we don't even have the wherewithal to create wills, to create our own, to make our inheritance, who's going to get what. Put that in writing. Make sure we have proper powers of attorney. and give and distribute that power before we're in a position where we can't say nothing and people make those decisions for us. Too many times we put ourselves in positions where other people can make decisions for us. And we don't like those decisions, but when you could, you wouldn't. Now you want to and you can't. We don't have financial literacy. We don't know how money works. We don't know how the economy works. We don't know how to acquire wealth. We don't know how to acquire any of this stuff, nor keep it. We don't even know how to think about it from a spiritual standpoint. We don't even understand how to think about it. Like I said before earlier in the stream, they got us running away from wealth because it's evil. Since when wealth is evil? If wealth is so evil, why they want it? If wealth make you a bad person, what they want it for? So the whole point of all of this is, let me get the ears of the lionesses. Let me get y'all ears. We have to, as women, we have to embody these 10 life values. We have to embody this. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Kendra, and my donations to Crimson University. Keep teaching us. Thank you so much. We have to embody and learn as much as possible about all 10 of these values. Because it is imperative for us to do so. Because our men are going to have to solve the problem of how to translate these values into tangible things within the society, the institution within the institution. But we have, as they work on that, it's not for us to kind of crack the whip on them, but to crack the whip on ourselves so that we can actually be ready to support and to assist as these things and as these problems get resolved. This is why I'm stressing that we got to drop the gender war and this biological misconception and the biological lie about who black men are, what they want, what they can do, what they capable of, and all of this sort of thing. It's imperative for us to invest in a positive narrative about black men. Because I guarantee you that we know black men in our personal lives, be they our husbands, be they our sons, be they our fathers or uncles or grandfathers and things of that nature, where we can point to and say, these were men of excellence. These were men of character. These were men of integrity. These are men who took care of their families. These are the men who, were important and figureheads. And we're not figureheads. That's the wrong word. But they were important in their communities. Thank you, Cedric. They were important in their communities. They were important to their families. They were the glue that held the family together. We look to Big Daddy for guidance. We look to our uncles for guidance. We look to our fathers for guidance. They gave us provision and problem solving and protection and procreating with love. Thank you, pillars. Thank you, Ndani. Pillars of their community. The men who made sure all the kids was good. The men that made sure that there weren't any predators around and anybody that could harm the women or the children or the elderly. We know these men. Let's not buy into the narratives about them. Let's look at our real world examples. And the majority of the time, we're going to find that those examples of those men were men of excellence. And they did the very best that they could do with whatever they had to be the best men that they knew how to be. And with that, we have to be the best women that we know how to be. And now we know how to be those women. We have to be those women. We know how to be those women. How to be that woman? You have to be a woman that understands the 10 life values and has it in her life. Because it wasn't Black Lives Matter that helped the movement in the communities. It was the men who were doing that. We saw what Black Lives Matter did. We saw what their interest was. Their interest was money and money alone. And acquiring that money for their own personal gain. The men were trying to actually fix and problem solve within their community. Which is why we have a petition against Black Lives Matter right now to hold them accountable for that skipping out on the Black community that they did. Not helping, not assisting in any of the problem solving. Left it to the men without giving them the financial aid that would have assisted and helped them tremendously with the problem solving within their own communities. So we have to hold them accountable. Let's get the signatures up to 7,500. If you have not signed the petition, I would ask my mods to put the link into the chat. The link for the petition is also in the description box. Please go ahead and sign. Please go ahead and share over all your social media and contribute to the petition if you can. I want to thank everyone for their well appreciated contributions through Super Chat, through Cash App, and through PayPal. Thank you so, so much. Every contribution is very, very much appreciated. And last but certainly not least, I want to thank my support team, without which we cannot disseminate this vital information to our community at large. So thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.